That's why they say to you, you are unemployed because of Zimbabweans. You don't have land because of Zimbabweans. You don't have economic opportunities because of Zimbabweans. We faced Zimbabweans. We faced Malawians. We took them home. Some Zimbabweans are still in Musina. If you are staying in a back room, you are still staying in a back room even when Zimbabweans are gone, because they lied to you. They said to you, all of your problems are caused by Africans. How can a person who's suffering the same pain as you cause you a problem? You are all victims of capital. You are all victims of slavery. You are all victims of colonialism, of imperialism. All of Africa. That's why when you go to America, to China, to Eastern Europe, everywhere of Europe, and you say, I'm from South Africa. But oh, how is Lagos? Because they can't differentiate all of you. They are treating you as one, because you are hated everywhere. Then they come in and depoliticize you by planting a seed of division. And you see your fellow African as an enemy. And you see a European occupier as an investor. A person who keeps you out of the gates of the economy is the most loved person. This economy of South Africa was built by all of Southern Africa. All of Southern Africa, African economy was colonized by Cecil Rhodes. All of us. These mines you are talking about, they were worked by everybody. This Johannesburg of gold you are talking about, it was worked by everybody in Southern Africa. This country was built by all Africans who contribute. Leave what they say that, no, they got you in exile. They were, leave that. They did it here. That's why there is a language called Fanaka law. Because Mozambicans, South Africans, the Zulus, the Xhosas, the Pedis, the Zimbabweans met underground when they were producing the minerals and could not speak to each other. They had to develop a language called Fanaka law. The EFF was not there. But they say these people were brought by the EFF. We must check, when was the EFF formed? 2013. When was Fanaka law formed? And how did the Fanaka law language get formed? It was because Africans came together to work on the economy of Southern Africa. All of us colonized by one man, Cecil John Rhodes. His grave is here in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, it was named after him. It's called Rhodesia. It was named after Rhodes. So, all of us were squeezed by one man. One man. And then we instead of uniting against one man, we fight one another. All of these problems we see here can be driven to one man. That's now Tambo and others removed his statue at the University of Cape Town. Because they said we cannot celebrate this evil force. To put a statue of a man who killed our people, stole our land and stole our minerals in public is to worship a criminal. That was a just cause to remove a statue of a criminal. So we are where we are because of the occupiers, not because of Zimbabweans. They do that to you because they depoliticize you. And that's why I'm telling you what I'm telling you, even when they say to you, don't vote for him because he says these things that he's saying, don't vote for him. I don't care about votes. I care about politicizing the youth. As long as you are politicized, if you are politicized, you are going to rise one day against the system, the evil system of Donald Trump. Why should we prioritize elections and votes over the lives of innocent children that were sleeping in cold weather in South Africa because you chased people out of Alexander? Here is Alexander. Millions of black Africans are squeezed together in one place. Next to Alexander, there is an open land owned by University of Witwatersrand. Witwatersrand, because it's associated with a white man, these blacks are scared to go and occupy that land. They would rather stay in squalor, squeezed, cramped, like sardines. And then they see a land that looks like it's owned by a white man. They will never go there. Instead of say, but we can't live like this. Let's unite and go and take that thing. We don't do that. A good picture, it's a picture of Stellenbosch. What is that? Kamnandi, just outside Stellenbosch. There's a squatter camp. It's formalized now. There's a squatter camp here. Those guys stay like this. And it's a bit on a hill. When you are there, there is a beautiful land, green all over, going those many hectares, with one house of a white man in a 3,000 hectares of land. One white house, British colonial design house. They will never go there. And when I go to Kamnandi, I say to them, we must go and take that land. We must go and occupy that land. We can't live like this. They don't go, but I will never stop. Because to politicize people is not a quick arrangement. It's longevity. If you are used to quick, it's your own problem. We are used to longevity. So revolution is not I'm coming. No. Revolution is about working on instilling ideas on young people until they appreciate these ideas. And one day when the youth of Kamnandi stand up and go into that farm in Stellenbosch, they will be speaking about us the same way we speak about Onkgopotse. When he said those things, he never thought that he is going to live to see them. But he was saying them to instill and plant a seed that will be produced for future generations. And we are beneficiaries of what he said here in Teflo. So we formed the EFF to politicize the people, and we formed the EFF Youth Command to politicize the youth of South Africa, because they wanted to depoliticize you by calling you AMA 2000. That you are so defocused, you have no idea what's happening, and they want you to believe that you have no role. Yours is just to push vibes, and you have nothing to do with what can change the country. And we're doing everything in our power to counter that. The mines should beneficiate the economy of South Africa. We must beneficiate those mines here. So every time you see a truck full of minerals going to that place in KZN, Richards Bay, when you see a truck from Skukun full of chrome, from Kopan full of chrome, hitting the N1 to Richards Bay, you must know inside that truck is our jobs. They are going outside South Africa, those jobs. That's why we are fighting, that we need to beneficiate these minerals here. When you mine platinum, when you mine chrome, those who go and mine it is jobs. When you produce it and process it in a factory or industry here in South Africa, is jobs. When a finished product is produced and is sold to the outside world, is economic opportunities accompanied by jobs. So you will never create jobs with the economy you don't own. That's why we want to nationalize the mines. But the problem is, they say to you, if you nationalize the mines, the investors will go. We say, can you define what is nationalization? Nationalization means state ownership. So, we've got schools that are owned by the state, including this university, state-owned. Therefore, it is nationalized. But it doesn't mean there are no private institutions. So let's go and establish a mining company that is state-owned. When there are minerals that, like the Mokopane one is talking about, there in Mokopane, I don't know if Anglo is still mining itself, because Anglo is no longer mining in South Africa. They get a mining license and they give the mining to small companies to mine on their behalf. But in Mokopane, Anglo was mining itself. Why? The mineral was so profitable. The platinum in Mokopane, you didn't have to use sophistication and blast and all manner of things. Just with excavation, you are able to produce that platinum. It is profitable because you don't spend money to take it out. Those are the kind of licenses you give to a government mining company, because they must go and mine without spending too much money. Take out the mineral and sell that mineral and take that money into fiscus and give you free education paid for by the minerals of South Africa. I was in Botswana some few days ago. In Botswana, the government of Botswana owns 51% of their diamonds. In Botswana, all children who go to school, including overseas, the government pays for them through that diamond ownership. What makes matters worse about Botswana is that they don't only pay for the fees of these children, they also give them monthly allowance. They pay you for going to school. They thank you for going to school. They pay you from their diamond. I was in Washington when I was in the Youth League some years back, and I met the students of Botswana and we had an interaction like this. They were explaining what they are getting, and they were so spoiled. In Washington, they had all manner of complaints and they were getting paid. And at that time, they were being given an equivalent of 7,000 to 8,000 that my mother never got throughout her life, monthly. That's what minerals do. If minerals properly used to benefit the people of that country, they can take you to school and still pay you for going to school. Hence the call that those who graduate and do not get jobs, they must be given a graduation allowance because they went to school. So, Akiri, you go to school in order to graduate and make money for your family. We said to you, go to school, then you graduate, and then that thing we promise you that you are going to get money after graduation is not happening. We are the ones who said to you, go to school, you will be paid. If you don't get paid, we must pay you until we create jobs and put you into those jobs so that we stop paying you and the jobs pay you. So why will the private companies run from South Africa if a government owns a mining company? When we say let's create a state-owned bank, which was supported by Tito Mboweni when he was a Minister of Finance, they refuse. They say the state can't own the banks. What does the state have to do with owning banks? But we've got public schools and we've got private schools. We've got public hospitals and we've got private hospitals. Let's have public bank and private bank. Let the people choose which one they want to use without channeling them to Standard Bank, ABSA, and they all connive. A teacher that was teaching me geography in Mutlayaneng in Seshiu still drive the same Corolla I was driving when I was in high school. Why? even teachers who are graduates, the civil servants who are graduates, they cannot afford to be loaned money by banks. That's why we must have a state-owned bank, so that we can bank with our own employees. We can finance their cars. We can finance their own houses. We can finance those who don't qualify for NSFAS because their parents work for government, even when they are not paid nothing. The parents don't have nothing. But they say, no, she's working for government, therefore we can't finance you through NSFAS. The missing middle must be financed by the state. How do we finance them if we don't own the strategic means of the economy? Every economy that is able to sustain itself is an economy that is owned by the people, not the minority few. And we fully agree that beneficiation must happen. When we were last in parliament with Ramaphosa, when I asked him about this, he agreed with me. He said, I fully agree, we must in-source workers. I fully agree, we must beneficiate in South Africa. But I don't believe in Garana need. Thank you.